Ignition sequence starts. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Hey everybody, this is the Digital Asset Investor, and I just lost my train of thought. My 10-year-old woke me up this morning. The first word out of his mouth was McDonald's. Now, normally that would be okay, and I would have no problem with going to get him McDonald's, but the problem is I've been doing this fasting thing where you don't eat until like 12 noon, and then you stop eating at 8 o'clock at night, and that's no fun when you have to go to get your kid McDonald's and all you can do is drink coffee, and then he gets to eat and you get nothing. So it makes it worse, but I did go and get it for him. Now, today would be, I would say that I will call today the day of thumbnails, because what I'm gonna do is I'm going to take all of the words. It might be like an old Batman and Robin where they go boom, pow, and all of that on my thumbnail, because today is the day that the SEC got their butt kicked and the judge overruled them and said that the Hinman documents are going to have to be released, and we'll get to all of that. First, I wanted to show you XRP did get a bump. CoinPaprika.com, who is one of my sponsors, has got 9.87%. Looks like out of all of the things on my list, XRP and Stellar are leading the way. Now, just a reminder, link to, I think they just added more Ripple equity onto the platform. And don't ever forget, folks, there's going to be a day when this Ripple equity won't be able to be had. But today they have some. The link to this will be in the top of the description. Tell them DAI sent you. Go click on it. Now, James Phelan was the one that broke this yesterday evening. Breaking. Okay, that's a thumbnail word. Okay, we'll put breaking. We've got boom. What's the word massive is good too. Judge Torres overrules the SEC's objections and orders the SEC to turn over the Hinman documents. Jeremy Hogan says Judge Torres agreed with Judge Netburn on every single issue related to the Hinman emails. Relevance, check. Attorney-client privilege, check. DPP, check. Some days I'm proud of this profession. Okay? Then John Deaton weighed in. I was trying to decide what would be the most fitting to eat in celebration of the Judge Torres ruling ordering SEC to turn over the Hinman emails, comments, and drafts of his speech. Then I opened the fridge and answer smacked me in the face. Oranges from the Howey test, right? So then we have this. So James Phelan was kind of breaking it down, because there is look. The SEC, if their track record speaks for anything, they've tried to delay this thing. Look, we've said for a long time this lawsuit was a weapon. And what kind of weapon? A delay weapon, to delay Ripple as long as possible. That's what all indications are. Okay? Some thoughts on the next steps in the quest for the Hinman documents. The SEC has a number of procedural cards they can play to further delay complying with the order to produce Hinman documents. First, they can ask Judge Torres to reconsider her order overruling the SEC objection. Second, they could skip the motion for reconsideration and just ask her to certify an appeal of the decision she issued today. Third, they could go to the Court of Appeals directly on a petition for writ of mandamus. As I've mentioned before, these are all low probability of success maneuvers. But if the SEC wants to delay producing documents, they may try any or even all of the maneuvers, and that could take an additional 2 to 3 months to work out. None of these attempts at delay, however, will impact the summary judgment schedule. So we're going to put summary judgment, We're going to put the settle. These are all thumbnail things. You know, most people act like having a great thumbnail is crazy. You know what I always ask about thumbnails? People are like, oh, that's hype. You can't do that. You know what I say to that? So because CNN started this with breaking news. I remember it back when the U.S. invaded Iraq. Everything was breaking news, and everything since then from all these news outlets has been breaking news. And my question to anybody who has a problem with thumbnails is, so what do you want me to do? Do you want me to dumb down my thumbnail so that I get as few views as possible? Is that what's admirable? Because that is bullcrap. I mean, oh yeah, I decided to tweak my thumbnail down so that it would get less views. That would make sense. I mean, what in the world? Why does our culture now spend all their time trying to apologize and appease everyone instead of being individuals and doing what you want to do? As long as you're being honest and not trying to pull the wool over somebody's eyes. What is wrong with that? Whatever happened to people having a set and just doing what they wanted to do and not being driven by the opinions of others? The cowardice in our culture is disgusting to me now. It's just disgusting. The second, you young people, listen to me. The second that you stop bending yourself to the will of others, because you are nothing but a sheep to their desires until you decide to stand up for yourself and be individualistic and be your own person and quit worrying about what everybody else thinks. That is 99.9% of the problem of our society is everybody's doing what everybody else do, and they all fall in line and march in order. Go your own way. It's the greatest advice any young person could ever hear. Go your own way. Try to do the right thing and fight the good fight, but don't bend and focus all your attention on what other people think of you, because you will end in that rut. Trust me. Now, this is interesting too. Ashley Prosper. If the SEC appeals to the Second Circuit and loses, not only does it set precedent, not only does it mean they have to hand the emails over to Ripple, but it also means the SEC cannot rely on privilege assertions to protect the emails from the FOIA disclosure. I'm ready. Now, this is interesting, and just to get a confirmation, I went in the thread to make sure that there was an attorney who agreed with this, because I don't know if Ashley Prosper is an attorney or not, but this guy is, this Bill guy. So, he says, good point. So this must be legit. All right, moving along. Eleanor Terrett, statement from Ripple General Counsel Stuart Alderati on today's ruling on the Hinman emails. We're pleased by the sixth and hopefully final decision from the court to produce these documents, which grants Ripple access to important documents that the SEC has continued to withhold. Then I tweeted this out. JV had put out this Hester Pierce with Thinking Crypto from a while back. And I asked the question, how many millions of taxpayer dollars have these people wasted trying to keep the truth from the investors they claim to protect? They are all complicit at this point. Sorry, Hester, that's you too now.
About Jay Clayton and William Hinman, potential conflicts of interest. And from the outside, there's videos and conversations and emails and all these things. What are your thoughts on this? And do you have, I don't know how much you can share, but I just want to give you the floor to address this if you can.
Sure. No, I appreciate that. And I worked with both of them. Bill Hinman was the director of corporation finance, and Jay Clayton obviously was chairman. And I know both of them, and they're both men of integrity. Conflicts are extremely important to manage, and anyone in one of our positions needs to manage those conflicts. But what I will say is that I didn't always agree with Bill Hinman and Jay Clayton on policy, and there were sometimes very strong disagreements, and some of those disagreements were around crypto. And so I think as a society, tend to try to make everything about people's integrity. If we disagree on a policy point, that's definitely a problem. And why?
That's the wrong angle, Hester. This doesn't have anything to do with what we as a society want to do. What this has to do with is a timeline, a set of facts that are not in dispute, video that puts all the facts together and shows, in their own words, public video, and it's all been laid out. And all we're asking for is an investigation, and Hester Pierce should be asking for one too. My experience, she can say my experience with all these people is that they are of high integrity, but an investigation never hurts. If it let it go where it goes. That's what she should be saying. If there's any impropriety, then it'll be found. Let an investigation go through. There's certainly enough facts to back up an investigation. I put out the SEC to-do list because Cowboy Crypto put this out. We're the only advisor with investment banking experience and a broker-dealer registration. This is Emma Channing. She was with Hinman during the Alibaba IPO. And folks, don't quote me, but I swear to you, she's with an Ethereum organization. I think it was called the Ethereum something trust. I will look it up. Look it up when you hear me say that on this video, because I'm 99. I remember researching her at one point. I am 99, and I never did put that she was with the Alibaba IPO and also had on the Ethereum Trust Foundation or something. Look it up. Google it. But I put together the SEC to-do list as I've pieced it together in my mind all these after the last couple of years. Keep identity of Satoshi and the ETH disguised whale secret. 2, get Bitcoin and Ethereum out from under securities laws, creating a monopoly on token issuance and DeFi for Ethereum. 3, slam the door on everything else. 4, go after all other tokens and exchanges. 5, hand this new asset class to Wall Street, who has broker-dealer license, right? Reminder from Stuart Alderati, what it'll take for a settlement.
This case settles if the SEC makes clear that Ripple sales and distributions of XRP and XRP's trading in the secondary market does not constitute a security. If they're willing to acknowledge that, the case settles, and settles very, very quickly. This case settles.
All right, so that's what it'll take for the case to settle. Then this morning, James Phelan comes in again. He says, I Remit Inc., a global payment remittance company that uses the RippleNet software, has filed an application to file an amicus brief in support of Ripple defendants' motion for summary judgment. So now we've got, 3 or 4 different organizations that have done this? Pretty darn interesting. Okay, then we've got this. Max Kaiser is all bent out of shape because he's a Bitcoin maxi, only Bitcoin. Sorry, Max, had a knock at the door, but don't worry, we'll get to you. So he says, meaningless. Ripple is grasping at straws. Now, this is him retweeting this Cointelegraph order about the judge ordering SEC Hinman documents. Meaningless. Ripple is grasping at straws. There is no doubt XRP is an unregistered security. Shut that shit down, Gary. Judge orders SEC to turn Hinman documents over to Ripple Labs after months of dispute. So he's real angry. This is what you call fear, folks, and I'm going to show you my thoughts on this. Then he retweets Eleanor Terrett's tweet, and he says, the SEC is right to shut down anything not Bitcoin as an unregistered security. You're defending a criminal racket if you're defending XRP Ripple. Shame. Well, let me give you my version of shame. Here's my version of shame. He works for RT. What is RT? RT is Russia Today. RT is a Russian state-controlled international news television network funded by Russian government. Does anybody remember this clip by Dan Pena? Let me hit the refresh button if he hasn't deleted it, and maybe we can let everybody watch it.
You know who's behind Bitcoin? Putin. It's a Ruski conspiracy to fuck up the American economy and the world. It's a long-range plan he started 7-8 years ago. He's going to see the demise of the Western financial world while he's still the head of Russia. He's going to be there long enough. And he's already hacked into the brains of all the morons.
Wow. Okay, I'll do that later. I'm the digital asset investor. I'm not an investment advisor. This is for entertainment purposes only. Please subscribe, hit the like button, and tell your friends and family that Max Kaiser works with RT, which is Russia Today, which is a Russian government-owned network.